part about module 5. Okay, thanks, Alan, also. Let me cover some part of module 5, then we go for a break at about 3 p.m. or plus, yeah? Okay, so let's move on to module 5 called the subtle command. Now, subtle command, when we make decisions, right? This is what we think we are all doing. Like yesterday, remember I asked you a question, say, do you think you are making decision consciously, or you are making decisions based on subconscious mind? Okay, yesterday I think I've deal with that question. I say that most of us actually make a decision subconsciously, and then later on go back to your conscious mind to find reason to substantiate or to satisfy your decision. Sometimes this is how most people work. Okay, so this is what we think we are doing. When we make decision, we scrutinize and evaluate the information that we are given, and then ultimately make a logical decision based on our evaluation. So those who think you are doing this, you are thinking that you are using your conscious mind to do the decision making. But unfortunately, not many of us are doing that. Okay, fact to be told, we rarely make decisions that way. Okay, there are so many things in life to think about. Seriously, if you every decision you have to consciously make them, your brain cannot take it. Okay, your body cannot take it. Why I say that? When you do breathing, do you consciously tell yourself, okay, you have to breathe out, and then after a few seconds, okay, now it's the time I have to consciously breathe in? We don't do that, right? This is called subconscious taking over. Okay, or sometimes when there are certain things that certain food that you hate eating. I don't know. Maybe let's say prawn mee. You hate eating prawn mee. This is the last dish that you want to take. The moment someone asks you, "Hey, let's go have prawn mee for lunch," your answer straight away, no need to think, say no. No need to think. No need to consciously think. Prawn mee. What's inside the prawn mee? You have prawn. You have noodle. You have soup. Should I go and take it? Or how many calories? You don't do that consciously, because subconsciously there's already a trigger. Okay, a trigger saying that when it comes to prawn noodle, your straight away answer should be no, I'm not interested. Okay, so this is called subconsciously. So everyone has that in them, right? Because there are so many decisions to make in life. So some of that we have to pass over to the subconscious mind. Okay, so the second line here basically is to tell you that to consciously scrutinize every single decision that you're going to make is almost impossible. Why am I telling you this? Is because yesterday we talked about the yin yang, and if we think the way that most people think, then persuasion become very hard. That's why we can hardly a lot of time when we need to persuade somebody, you find it so hard because we've been thinking in a very logical way. But if we know this, you find that there are a lot of unobservable things that is going on inside ourselves that not many people know, and this is one of them. Okay, so let's not talk about the prawn mee, right? This is what I call the mental shortcut. Mental shortcut. Oh, sorry, the Wu Wei should be this Wu Wei. Okay, Wu Wei. Okay, so I call it mental shortcut. Mental shortcut means because there's so many decisions to make, right? So we have to build up a lot of mental shortcuts in our brain and our mind. So, like for example, prawn mee, you already registered inside saying that whenever somebody suggests prawn mee, you will say no. No need to think twice. Okay, so what these mental shortcuts do is that these shortcuts is meant to dissect all information and then help you make rapid decisions. So save time, save the brain juice as well. Okay, so what it means here, subconsciously, whenever there's a decision to be made, your brain will cross-reference it with all other preconceived notions and beliefs. We call that mental triggers. So I'll use that as mental triggers and then make a decision. Just now, I've cited prawn mee as one of the example here. So all of us are generally susceptible to the mental triggers. You think about it. Is there anything that when I ask you certain thing, you straight away can give me an answer, quick answer? You get my point? Okay, so for example, let's say if you love to drink Coke, when I offer you a Coke, you straight away answer yes, thank you. I would love to have a Coke. You know, okay. So it's like that lah. Everyone will have mental triggers lah. And then when people respond to the trigger, they don't even realize that they are doing it. Later on, they'll say, "Oh, I thought I said I don't want to drink Coke. Why I accepted the Coke offer?" And then they'll use back the conscious mind to justify, today the weather is so hot, maybe I just have one can of Coke just for today, that's it. Tomorrow I will abstain from Coke. This is how people behave, right? Does it sounds same to you? Okay, so the thing here is like riding a bicycle. Okay, it's like riding a bicycle. Now, the very first time you ride bicycle, or the very first few time you ride a bicycle, to learn to ride a bicycle, you find that you have to make a lot of conscious decision. Can you relate to that? Think back about the very first few time that you're learning to ride a bike. You find that there are so many coordination, so many conscious decision. First of all, your hand must be on the handle bar, and then a few fingers will be on the brake, just in case it didn't go well. Okay, and then your right foot on the right pedal, and then you try to step it on, and then the best that you can balance yourself while you consciously bring your left foot onto the left pedal. And then once you can do that already, get contact already, then you consciously tell yourself you have to start pedaling with both legs. And at the same time, you have to consciously tell yourself your eyes must look straight, cannot look down, must look in front and look straight. There are so many conscious decisions to make. That is why riding the bike for the first time is so damn difficult. But after practicing, you're getting better and better. You find that some of those chores that you have experienced the first few rounds, you find that no brainer. I can pass it on to my subconscious mind to handle that. For example, holding onto the handlebar, fingers onto the brake, those are subconscious already. Take over. When there's danger, the finger will know what to do. Subconscious, mental trigger. Okay, so after a while, maybe after many rounds, even up to today, when you are given a bicycle, I think with just a simple quick revision, you know how to handle the bike without much conscious decision making. Okay, am I correct to say that? Do you have this experience? Well, I'm sure if it happened to the bike riding lessons, it applies to everything else. And why I bring on this one is that I want to tell you think, how people think and make decisions. Okay, so yin and yang again. Okay, yin and yang. Whenever we have information coming in, there's always two type of data processing. One is called the central processing. Central processing means everything going there, it will be consciously processed. Okay, consciously processed. That's like the first time you learn bike, or everything have to go through your conscious mind. Okay, that's called the central processing. Now, a lot of us, after a while, based on the learning, based on the belief system, based on the conditioning or the upbringing, a lot of things will be passed over to the peripheral processing. That means the subconscious mind. And when we do persuasion, you tell me, you type in the chat box, which binary, A or B, are we targeting at? Central processing or peripheral processing? You tell me, okay? Based on your best answers, A or B. Type in the chat box. What do you think when we are doing persuasion? A or B, do you think are we trying to target at? Pui Ling say A, Fiona say B. Now, Pui Ling, could you maybe elaborate, and Fiona also elaborate why you think is A and why you think is B? Alan says B. So would you like to substantiate why you think is B, Alan? I think once you know this, things will get easier with persuasion. Pui Ling says central processing seems to be the main one for processing. True, true. That is like riding a bicycle for the very first time, everything have to go through the central processing, and you find that you get overwhelmed. When you get overwhelmed, you can't write because you can't decide which one should come first, which one should come last. That's like driving a car also. Well, you have to look at the mirror, you have to look at the side mirror, you have to handle the wheel and then change the gear and then feel the clutch. That's last time. Now it's automatic car, sorry. So, so many things to have to go through the central processing. Okay, Pepe say B, to be able to master to do it subconsciously. Okay, very good. So the what do you call that? Let me see. Alan say B, cause central processing is fixed for a person. Okay, central processing sometimes is when there's new thing and you have no past experience, past belief system, or past values, or past SOP to deal with that new thing. You tendency is that you have to go through the central processing. That's like learning how to learn the bike for the very first time. Very first thing, very first time, you have to go through the central processing. So you want to gather a lot of information, but you could be subjected to what do you call that, over analysis. Okay, and then you get paralyzed because of that over analysis. Okay, so when I'm the persuader, I want to appeal to the audience peripheral processing. Okay, I want to appeal to the audience peripheral processing, especially the mental triggers if I know they have one. That's like if I know my wife like to drink Coke, whenever we are at coffee shop, for example, and we want to order drinks, I say, can I get you a Coke? Most of the time, 9 out of 10, she will say yes. You get my point? Okay, this is shortcut answer. All right, shortcut answer. If I ask, what would you like to drink today? Well, then she have to go through the central processing, say, today the weather so hot. Should I drink cold or should I drink hot? If you want to save time, attack the peripheral processing. That is the best way to save time and fastest way to get a decision out of the audience. Basically, this is what I'm trying to say here. This subject is trying to tell us this. If you want fast decision, fast adoption of what you're offering, attack the peripheral processing. Especially if there's already one existing mental trigger, that will be the best. Okay, so Fiona said people tend to make decision emotionally or at that moment. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you. Emotionally or at that moment, on the spur of the moment, are usually those are using peripheral processing because they already have one existing SOP already. So when you see this, respond with this. No need to think twice. We want to do that. Okay, so for example, I give an example. What do you call it? Here. Now, let's say you're going on a trip. Okay, you're going on a trip maybe to US or to some Europe country, and then you have a chance to visit some of the branded bags factory outlet, right? And then you purposely put aside a day just to shop all the factory outlet there is there, and if you wanted to buy a bag, okay, want to buy a bag, maybe a Prada bag, and then you find that when you go to a factory outlet, there are two shops side by side. Okay, one is selling Prada genuine leather, the design that you want, okay, or you like. Retail price is 5800, but right now because a factory outlet is selling at 1999 Prada genuine leather. Then the shop next door selling a similar design, but it's Panda genuine leather. It's Panda brand, not Prada, but Panda genuine leather. Retail price is 100, but now since you're at the factory outlet, they are selling you at $20. Now, if you were that person with the intention to go to the factory outlet to buy branded bags, okay, branded bags, when you see these two shops having these two offer, which one would you buy, A or B? See the brand. Thank you, Pei. See the brand. Isn't it emotional attachment? When you say is brand dependent, because it looks similar, texture the same, everything the same, but that the brand is different. Now suddenly the logical pricing things doesn't play any part at all already. Okay, thank you, Fiona. Going with the intention to buy branded Prada. Thank you very much. So you already have an existing SOP inside, say, I'm going there to buy branded bag. Okay, branded bag. So your SOP is there already. So that means if I'm a Panda salesman, I'm going to sell you $20 not enough. Okay, I cut some more, $10. You lucky won't buy. You get my point? Because you already have an existing mental trigger there. As long as it's branded, as long as there's discount, as long as can afford, I will get it. Can you see how you're making decisions? Okay, and I call that as mental triggers. So the $20 versus the 1999 no longer play a part. So pricing sometimes doesn't affect your decision. Okay, so if I am a Prada salesman, I know that you are here at the factory outlet where where most people come with the intention to buy branded bags. I won't be opening shop holding a range of Panda brand bags. All right, you see how we do persuasion now, especially when step into the audience world, and we use this kind of techniques to persuade them to part, even to pay 1999 for a bag that you can get a similar one at $20. People still buy. Okay, people still buy. So don't assume that people always go for logical reasoning. Logical reasoning means go for the cheapest. Don't assume that. Okay, because if they have an existing SOP, a mental trigger there, and once you're able to trigger that mental trigger, the decision time will be cut short by a lot, and they will rush in, especially when you say 1999 to 1 hour special. Okay, if I add on the law of persuasion, called the law of scarcity, okay, not only you reduce the price to 1999, not only that it's branded because I will trigger all the mental trigger already, but if I want to make fast money from you, I'll add on the law of persuasion to work on my side. Okay, and I say that, okay, 1 hour special, this design, 1999. Okay, straight away, you buy. 卖涂料, you don't even want to shop other shop already. Right? So we must always make use of persuasion, make use of law of persuasions to work for us. It works better. Question so far? Okay, Alan say, may I know if this branded SOP in mind consider central or peripheral? Peripheral. Okay, peripheral. He may have done all his consideration here. Consideration here in the central processing. That means way before going there, okay, he may have already she may already have decided, say, okay, if I go there, if I go to the factory outlet, what call that? Maybe I will buy Prada, I want to buy branded, things like that. Okay, all these things go through the central processing and say, okay, I've decided on this. And he will park it under the peripheral processing. You got my point? Park it under there. So when you reach there, go to the factory outlet, and when you see a Prada, okay, when you see a Prada, straight away it trigger one mental trigger already. And then when you say that, when you see that, it's now 1999, okay, another mental trigger triggered. Now, if I mean the salesman, apply the law of persuasion, meaning the law of scarcity, I actually giving the audience a nudge to say, get it now. You get my point, Alan? So it is from central processing all the way, once it's done already, you say, okay, I've done this, will be my guideline for my trip. Then you park it under the peripheral processing. Right? So the salesman there will know that whoever come to visit this factory outlet, tendency is that they already have in mind an existing SOP to say, I'm trying to get a branded bag. I don't mind paying a bit more. Okay, I don't mind paying more. Okay, so if there is a discount, even better. And if there's a brand that I like, even better. Can follow me, everyone? Do you think this is useful? Okay, thank you, Alan. So in short, what I'm trying to impress upon you is that we are emotional people making decisions primarily based on emotion. Okay, but we think we are logical. You look at the back just now, $20 versus 1999. Okay, so yeah, so I think it tells all. It tells all. Okay, thank you, Pui Ling. So same thing. I'm using a sales context to explain persuasion, but it works for any other persuasion context lah. You get my point? For example, you're submitting a paper or you want to get a budget. Okay, raise a paper to get some budget. You know, you may want to put in some law of persuasion. Maybe that, for example, what do you call that? Law of persuasion to work or for your side. Okay, on your side to get the audience, to get your boss to approve it. You know, something like this. Okay, people react more to the way that information is presented to them rather than the content of the information itself. Can you understand this sentence? Let me repeat. People react more to the way that information is presented to them. They don't necessarily react well to the content of the information itself. So it is not about the meat and potato. Yesterday, we talked about the content, we talked about framing, right? And we say content is the meat and the potato. It's not really about the meat and potato. It's about how you cook the meat and the potato and then finally present the cooked meat and potato to the audience. That matters. That matters. The way how you cook it and the way you present, that matters. Okay? Right? So talking about that Prada bag, if I present you in a different manner, okay, if I present to you in a different manner, for example, let me clear this one. Let me change some of the conditions, and then you tell me which one you will still buy, A or B. Okay. Now A is a Prada authorized outlet. Okay, authorized outlet. B, this is also selling Prada. Okay, but it's not an authorized outlet. Okay, not authorized outlet. And the pricing is selling at $1,000. Okay, one wrong, not 1,000, maybe 1,005. Okay, A is authorized. B is just any Tom Dick Harry shop lah. Tom Dick any Harry shop, but happen to carry Prada bag, same design, but by selling by the authorized dealer is 1999 with certificate. I think so. Then the B also selling the same design, 1500. Okay, 1500. Which one would you buy? A or B? Pui Ling say A. Pei Pei say A. Okay. Why? Why A? Why not B? Now B is not Panda. B is also selling Prada and selling the same, not similar, but same design. Fiona also say A. Okay. Pui Ling say, but not authorized. You see, because of the word authorized. Fiona say authorized dealer. So because of the word authorized, can you see how certain words play up the emotion in the audience? With authorized and without authorized, it seems to be so different. It stirs up a different kind of emotion in you to say that, hey, although the authorized, I have to pay 400 more or 500 more, but I think I was still willing to pay the extra 500. Why? Because of that word authorized. Now, do you know why a lot of brands, for example, cosmetic brands, they like to get celebrity to be the ambassador? Because it invokes certain kind of emotion in the buyers for the product. Okay, and then since celebrity is using it, therefore it cuts short a lot of central processing for the buyers. Since celebrity is using it, then it must be good. So expensive a bit, never mind. It has to be good. So I will buy it. All right. Okay, so it is how the information is presented. It's not the content. Okay, if you show a plain content saying that as Prada selling 1,005, you know, what do you call that? usual price is 5,800. Yeah, you may get some sales, but if the next door shows that it's authorized, straight away things change, the dynamic change. So it's the way you present the information. It's not about the information itself. Get my drift? Okay, so what I'm trying to show you in this module is about the content part. So this subtle command, where does it fit in the overall scheme, greater scheme of things? Is that we are talking about the meat and the potato. How do you cook them? Okay, so we're going to cover this after the break about module 5, subtle command, and how they fit in is in the content part. Or in terms of these 4 key principles, they are this part here, know the laws. Okay, how the buyers or the audience can be directed to think and behave in certain ways. Remember, I mentioned we are not really that logical after all. We tend to decide based on emotion and then use logical to try to justify our decision. So once we know that, persuasion become easier. I'm not saying easy, but I say easier. Okay. So after the break, we'll talk about the subtle command. Is that okay? Everyone? Good with that? Right? So if good with that, let me go back to my timer. Anyone so far? Not that difficult, huh? All right, so let's resume the class. We will go on to talk about subtle command, which is the key topic for module 5. Now, the intention is that during persuasion, we want to target at the audience peripheral processing because a lot of things will be shortcut. Okay, and also make easy for the audience to make a decision. If everything got to go through the central processing, they will tell you, I can't decide now. Let me go back and discuss with my wife, or let me go back and discuss with my husband, things like that. So central processing tends to have these kind of issues because they can't decide too many information. So therefore, we always want to go with the peripheral processing for the audience where possible. So how to do that? Here in this module, I'm going to show you few techniques. There are plentiful of techniques. I've tried some, I don't like some. So whatever I'm showing you here is what I find that I tried and it works for me. So those are my experience. So feel free to try out and then you see for yourself. So next time, when there's a class like this next year, when I invite you back, you may want to share your experience. Okay. So yeah, so let's go on with it. So subtle command. What is subtle command? Is basically to insert a command in the phrase that you use to the audience. Okay, so it could be in the form of speech. I mean, when you're talking, you insert a command, or when you are sending a text message, inside the text message, you insert a command, or email, okay, or a paper that you submit to your boss or to the top management. You may want to subtly insert a command. So command basically means, the meaning of command is to what I call that, tell directly the audience to do certain things that you want them to do. Okay, basically this is what you call command. Right. So just now from the Prada bag example, we already noted that certain words carry a much higher commanding value, okay, than other words within the statements. So even if it is advertisement poster, okay, like that's how the Prada bag on our advertisement poster, uh, with the word authorized and without the word authorized, it plays a big difference in how people decide. Okay, so going forward in every other persuasion context, this is something that you can think about using certain words of higher commanding value in your persuasion statement, right? So what we're going to go through right now here in this module is, let me share with you one of the method that I always use, and I find that this method work best with written. It can be used for verbal as well. Perhaps maybe for me, it doesn't really work that well for me for verbal. I know of some other gurus who use this, it works well for verbal. But for me, I find that text or written is still better. Okay, I'm going to talk about it later on. Now, subtle commands, you find that will find their way into the audience subconscious mind and then take root there. So it's like we are using the, yesterday we talked about yin yang, right? We are not using the direct approach. We are using the indirect or the subtle approach by putting in subtle commands. Okay. Hopefully that command will germinate and then create logical associated ideas that align with what you're trying to accomplish. Okay. Now I'm going to share with you 3 techniques. Like I said, there are many techniques out there, but I've tried plentiful, and I find that these 3 somehow works better for me. Okay. Number 1 is called the reverse negative. Negative is not enough, but we use the reverse negative. So although in many of my other programs or courses, I keep saying don't be too in, don't be, don't be negative, don't be negative. But in the persuasion context, sometimes you may need to use negative, but in a reverse negative manner. So I'm going to share with you what I mean by reverse negative. So this is one of the technique. I'm going to share with you 3. In terms of subtle command, I'm going to share with you 3. So that you can use either of these 3 to attack the peripheral processing of the audience. Yeah. So number 1, reverse negative. Examples. I think this one I don't really need to explain that much, because once I show you examples, I think it is already self-explanatory. So number 1 of example of a reverse negative is, you don't have to believe what I say, right? But I want you to believe me. Okay, so what I do is that my subtle command is, actually I want you to believe me, but I'm using this technique called reverse negative. So I use negative tone. I say, you don't have to believe what I say, but my intention is I want you to believe me. Okay, so this is called reverse negative. Example number 1. Okay, example number 2. You don't have to accept the facts right away, but my intention is I want you to accept the fact right away. Okay, can you see? My intention is I want you to accept, but I use the reverse negative. I convert it to become, you don't have to accept the facts right away. It works so well. Okay, and next one, third example is, you don't have to reject what other people say. Okay, so my main intention is I want you to accept what other people say. But in my persuasion, I have added in a reverse negative subtle command in my statement to the audience to say that, hey, you actually don't have to reject what other people say. All right. So for each sentence, you tell me, sentence 1, 2, 3, these 3 examples, for each sentence, which word do you think has a higher commanding value? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That means for sentence number 1, can you pick up the word that has higher commanding value? Same with sentence number 2, and same thing with sentence number 3. Type in the chat box. 1, what is that word with the higher commanding value? 2, what's that word with the higher commanding value? And same for 3, what's the word with higher commanding value? Pepe say believe, accept, reject. Okay. Anyone else different answers? Thank you, Pepe. Alan say believe, accept right away, reject. Very good. Very good. Very good. Any more? So your intention, your command is already there. It's called believe, accept right away, and then reject. But I phrase it differently because I want to put it as a reverse negative subtle command. Okay, so I put it as, you don't have to believe what I say, right? Actually, these techniques works very effectively. How do you feel when I say that to you? You don't have to believe what I say, but I can tell you this technique that I'm sharing with you, it works very well. So buy my program. It works for you. Oh, okay. So then the second sentence is the command is to accept and right away. So thank you, Alan, for pointing out right away, because I qualify it not accept tomorrow, not accept next week, not accept next year, but right away. Okay, so if I convert it into reverse negative, you don't have to accept that facts right away. Okay, the third one is the key commanding word is reject. You don't have to reject what other people say, but I want you to reject. Right? So do you think you can do that? Can you type in some examples that you can use with reverse negative? Type in some examples that you can think of, or you can remember someone using it on you also. Can you remember when was the most recent time that someone used reverse negative on you? The most recent moment. Pepe said, you don't have to listen to me. Thank you very much. This is reverse negative. Thank you. Any more? Okay. Doesn't matter. If you can think of any, just type in the chat box straight away. Now, why these techniques work so well, and I love this technique so much, it's because it just works. I'm going to explain to you some more. Okay, Ellen say you don't have to follow, but this is what I think. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, another way is I could be wrong, but I think the solution could be this. You know, so actually I'm telling you I'm right. But in the reverse and negative, say I could be wrong, but I think the solution is this. Right? Puiling say you don't have to trust me. Thank you very much. So now you know how to do it. Or you don't have to directly tell it, trust me, trust me, trust me. You don't have to do it this way. The more you tell people to trust you, the more they will not trust you. Okay, so 物极必反嘛, so in a way you can use reverse and negative in this manner. Say, hey, you don't have to trust me, but I think I have a good sense that the trend could be going this way, something like this. Okay, just yesterday only, can you remember I used this reverse negative on you, all of you? Can you remember? Just yesterday. Now, why this technique works so well? Pepe say point one. Thank you very much. Yesterday, yeah, Ling remember also. Yep, at the intro. Yes, exactly. I use point one, like what Pepe say. You don't have to believe what I say. This is, I'm showing you this is because I got nothing to hide to you, because I'm telling you whatever I'm sharing with you, I am doing it also, and I'm seeing result for myself. Fiona say every lesson you start with it. Yes. Thank you very much. You all notice it. So this is called reverse negative. Use it to your advantage. Okay, use it to your advantage. It works well. Now, why it works well? The subconscious mind, in case you don't realize it, is unable to comprehend anything in the negative. Okay, is unable to comprehend anything in the negative. So therefore, remember we just now yesterday talked about yin yang, and then today we follow up with talking about the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, and how people make decision with the subconscious mind, especially the peripheral processing. So if we keep attacking on the peripheral processing, a lot of things can be shortcut. A lot of decision making can be shortcut. A lot of position can be shortcut. So especially now we know the subconscious mind make up a lot of decision making part. And then we find that this subconscious mind got one characteristics, right? And that characteristic is that this subconscious mind somehow is very poor at comprehending anything in the negative. Okay, let me give you an example. You test it out for yourself. Okay, and then you make up your own mind to decide whether am I talking sense or am I not talking sense, right? I'm going to flash up the next slide. Okay, and once you see the slide, there is one instruction there. I want you to comply, follow and comply with the instruction. Do you think you can do that? Type a yes if you are ready to see the slide and follow and comply. So type a yes there and I'll flash it. Thank you, Pepe. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you, Puiling. Okay, here goes. Right, I want you to follow and comply with the instructions on the next slide. Here goes. 3, 2, 1. Don't think of bananas. Right? Okay. Now, my question to you, what image pops up in your mind when I flash this? Type in the chat box. My question is, what image pops up in your mind? Pulin say banana. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Did elephant pop up in your mind? Did a TV set pop up in your mind? No, right? Pepe say banana. So my instructions to you is very, very, very clear. Thank you, Fiona. My instruction to you is very, very, very clear. I will flash the next slide. All I need you to do, very simple, follow and comply with the instruction. And that instruction is, don't think of bananas. So you see, your subconscious mind will remove away the don't think of, the word don't, okay, but you retain the rest. Okay, so after removing the don't, right, the instruction suddenly become think of bananas. Alan even better, yellow banana. So see, Alan is pretty visual. Okay, not only he see a banana, he see a yellow banana. Okay, so in that sense, why I love reverse negative is because it simply works. So I know when I say something, I have to follow up with a short experiment so that you can test it out for yourself. So it works on you, that means it becomes your experience as well. So I find it so useful. I can use it on my kids. I can use it on my wife. I can use it on my client without them knowing. And then in the end, they will just do the way I want them to do because they want to do it. Right? I'm not manipulating them, okay, but I'm just giving them a choice to say that, hey, you don't have to believe a thing I say, but they make their own decision to believe. Right? So this is one technique called the reverse engineer. Do you think you will use that? What do you think? Just type in the chat box. Do you think you will use this technique and try it out, these techniques, and see if it works or not? Do you think you will try it out? Just type in the chat box. Will you or wouldn't you? Okay, next. The next technique that I'm going to share with you is called the 3-word command. Okay, 3-word command. This is technique number 2. I use this very often. I use it until I think not many people know that I'm using it, but I'm seeing results. All right, but I'm sharing this with you. So only those who have attended this program will know what I'm talking about. Huh? Okay, why 3 words command? Because I've tried 4 words, 5 words, 6 words, 2 words, 1 word. It didn't work as good as 3 words, right? Perhaps maybe because of this phrase called 三生万物 啦. Everything start from 3 啦. 无三不成理 also because coming from 3. So I try out with 2 and 4 and 5. I find that 3 still works better, so I start using 3 words. Now, how I use 3 words is very easy. You think of any command or instruction that you want to pass down or pass to the audience. All you need to do is that instruction, you try to reduce the instruction to a 3-word command. Can you think, give an example, then you think through and then you type in some suggestions in the chat box. For example, if let's say I want you to scratch your nose, a very loose example, so I wouldn't want to do that to you, but let's say I want you to scratch your nose. Okay, now the instruction is very long. I want you to scratch your nose. The instruction is so damn long. The intention now is the 3-word command means I want to reduce it to a 3-word command. So instead of I want you to scratch your nose, you reduce it, become scratch your nose. Okay. Now, can you think aloud some suggestion? What are the typical common commands that you would be giving? Type in the chat box some typical instructions that you'll be giving. It could be to your coworker, It could be some suggestions to your boss, things like that. It can be instruction. It could be a suggestion. So if you're a salesman, very easy, right? Fiona said, don't tell lies. Okay, don't tell lies. Okay, very good. Three word command. So if you're a salesman, very easy. Buy from me. Something like this. 3-word command. Any more? Okay, or let's say you are a course provider. You say, register it now. Something like that. Pui Ling say, please be quiet. Yes, 3-word command. Okay, 3-word command. So very good. I think you get the gist of it. Now, once you know how to reduce it to 3-word command, let's move on to see how you use it in your conversation or in your texting. Now, like I said, I find that this works better with texting for me. I mean, texting means written. Okay, so if it's written, meaning it works best for people that is visual. For visual one, this one work best. But that doesn't mean that it's ineffective towards those auditory and kinesthetic. That doesn't mean it's ineffective. It's just that it works even better for those who are visual because it is written. So therefore, if you're dealing with auditory, you may want to try verbal. Okay, I mean your 3-word command will come in through a verbal form. But I seldom use in a verbal form. Now, how you use it, this 3-word command, is you embed it in other conversation that may not even be about the topic. Okay, that's how I talk about stretch the nose, right? So we can use this 3-word command. I embed it into some other conversation, some other topics conversation that doesn't relate to scratch your nose. Okay, how I do it? How should we do it? How can we do it? Is, for example, using this example of scratch your nose. I may be talking to a friend and I can just describe to him what I encountered last night. I could be telling him I was walking down the street the other day. Pepe said, did you say registered it now? Yes, 3-word command. Okay. No, that's not I was trying to explain this technique. Is that I may be wanting my audience to scratch his nose. So I use a 3-word command. I put it in some other topics, unrelated topics. For example, I may be telling him, yesterday, I was walking down the street the other day. I noticed a car which had a scratch on it. I thought that may be your car, and I wonder if maybe you know about it. Okay, so this is verbal. So can you see with the difficulties with verbal is that number one, this is how I experience it. Then I'm telling you my experience. Maybe it works better for you if you're auditory one or you are good with speech. Now, my challenge with verbal is that you have to think on your toe how to form up the sentence, how to inject in the 3-word command. Now, where's the 3-word command? It is here. Scratch your nose. So it may not be nose. It can be some word that sounds similar to nose. So no, nose. All right. And then you just scattered them into the sentence. Scattered these 3 words into the sentence. And if you present it verbally, you may want to highlight these 3 command. Okay, these 3 command. It means like, for example, when you say, I was walking down the street the other day, I noticed a car which had a scratch on it. That means suddenly you emphasize on the word scratch. I thought maybe that's your car. Okay, so your become highlighted. And I wonder if maybe you know about it. Okay, so this 3-word command, you emphasize it. Now, by doing this, basically, we are trying to do this. I don't know whether you can visualize this. Let's say you are looking at a picture, and this picture, is a picture of a lot of a forest. Okay, forest, right? So if you look at this picture of forest, you find that all are about the same because all the tree looks the same, green and this tall. Then suddenly I insert in a bamboo. Okay, a bamboo. Right? Now you tell me, pardon my drawing, but I'm saying that once I insert in this 3-word command, suddenly the 3 word become like a bamboo among the forest of same trees. Now, which, if you look at this picture, which one will catch your attention? Is it the same tree or the bamboo? Inserting, people will tend to notice the contrasting effect. And that is all about eating. Eating is all about contrasting effect. So by inserting the 3 words command, you're actually creating this bamboo and creating this contrasting effect so that subconsciously, again, we are not tackling on the conscious mind, we are tackling on the subconscious mind. So that's now for those who read the sentence and find that it doesn't make sense at all, never mind, because you're using your conscious mind to try to decipher what we are trying to do. Okay, but actually the work is done by the subconscious mind, right? Okay, back to this example here. Okay, Pepe was asking how to use it if I want people to register for my event. It doesn't make sense here. So you have to find some ways. That's why I say verbal is a bit tough for me. Why? Because on the toe, you have to quickly paraphrase your sentence and see how you can fit in here. Okay, fit in your 3-word command. So you may have, say, for example, I don't know. This one got to think through. Let's say now you can say that this program is open for, for people to register. All right, and then comma and then blah 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 blah. Okay, and then you say it is the best time to do it now, something like that. Okay, register, then eat here. Okay, and then then finally the last word say click here to register now. Then 3 word. Okay, you can try register now 2 words. Like I say, I've tried with 1 word, 2 word, 3 word, 4 word, 5 word. I find that 3 words still easier to phrase, and then the effect is higher. Okay, so you can try 2 words, not a problem. Maybe it works well for you, right? So that is verbal. So that's why I say it doesn't work well for me for verbal, but for written, it works very, very well. Now, in written form, how? Okay, simply like what I did here, you can bold it. Okay, you can bold it, or you can make it italics, or you can underline it, or you can increase the font size a bit, or you can do a combination. That's to highlight the 3-word command. But of course, in formal paper that you submit to your CEO or to your boss, I don't think you can do this lah. But in normal texting, it's okay to do it. So this technique can be used for text messaging or email. Okay, for voice as well, you can use it also. Any quick question here? Can you all follow me so far? Any quick question? Let me pause here and ask for questions. Or if you think you understood what I'm trying to say, type a yes in the chat box. Thank you, Pei. Try it out. This one, I've tried many, many times. It works in almost all occasion. Thank you, Fiona. All right, so in written form, it can be, as I mentioned already, italics, or maybe the first letter capitalized. That means scratch with a capital S, your with capital Y, and then no with a capital K. Okay, so if you can't really form a sentence with the word nose, then you can use a similar word that rhymes like nose. Okay, like no. Or using a bigger font, or a combination. So all I need you to do to use this technique is to be creative. Okay, to be creative. That's about it. Right? So let me give you some common examples that I use. Okay, or I see somebody use, right? In addition to what some of you suggested, it could be open your mind. Okay, open your mind. Or You know, some salesman, car salesman will say, buy this car. Oh, buy this car, buy this car. Okay. Or sign up now. Okay. Or get this done, especially to your kid. Get this done. Okay. Or get your wash your own dish, wash your dish, or wash your plate, you know, something like that. Or let me go. Okay. Any other? For those who are creative one, can you think of any other 3-word command that we may use frequently? So for salesman, or if you are selling something online, then I think sign up now lah, buy it now lah. All these are common 3-word command. Give it some examples, some more. Move this forward. Thank you. Thank you. Especially in negotiation or when you're in discussion, the topic seems to get stuck. Okay. So you may want to use this 3-word command, say move this forward. Okay. Very good. Oh, thank you, Alan. So for example, the 3-word command could be let me go. For example, let me go. So one example, if I use it in a texting manner, is I may use some other unrelated topic, and I say, I let my wife have my car yesterday, and she told me that my driving license was in the glove compartment. Here you go. Okay. So I know it doesn't make sense here, but I'm just saying that you can use any other unrelated topics and then you do it. That's why I say, to me, for me, verbal, not my choice. If I use this technique, usually it's for written. Alan say, good for breaking up. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Yes. Yeah, some time back, one client was asking me how to break up. So I was tempted to share this with her. But in the end, I abstain myself. I shouldn't be advising people how to break up. Okay, so yeah. Thank you very much, Alan, for bringing this up. Yeah. Okay, so once you use this, you find that it is so subtle that nobody knows what you are doing. Okay, and yet they get your message very subtly, and then they somehow will comply. Just like that. Don't think of banana. That example. Okay, I'm going to show you how I use this in my daily work. For example, someone texts me. Okay, before that, Alan has something to say. Alan say, "Let me go." Does that means message sender or the message receiver? Okay, good. Okay, this one, for example, persuader and the audience. All right. So persuader is saying this. Persuader is saying this. Now the intention of the persuader of saying this is, for example, you want to break off with A. For example, like if I follow up with Alan's say good for breaking up. If let's say the persuader wants to break up with A and is trying to persuade A to let her go. Okay, so persuader may want to form this maybe during a very casual conversation. They have not fully broken up, but they can still have normal conversation, very casual conversation. So in one of those unrelated conversation, what I call that? He may say something like this wrong. This will be a wrong example. What would be a good example to say this? Okay, maybe like that. Persuader, audience is traffic police. Okay, audience traffic police, and this persuader is the driver. Is a driver, and then was got put up by the traffic police. Okay, so the intention say let me go. Okay, let me go. So instead of saying let me go, so the persuader say, oh, yesterday you want my driving license. I think I let my wife have my car yesterday, and she told me that my driving license was in the glove compartment. And then with the action say, okay, you open up the glove compartment and take out the driving license. Say, here you go. Something like this. So this is just a loose example I'm trying to show you. It's you want the TP to let you go, but yet you don't want to obviously directly tell him to let you go. So what you can do is you say something like this, flowery a bit, but inside that statement, embed in the 3-word command, let me go. This is this is one of the example. So do you get that, Alan? And everyone else, how to use this 3-word command? Use unrelated topic and talk about it. No, let me go. Okay. So Alan is saying, so should the statement be let you go? No, let me go, because the persuader want the TP to let me go. All right. So it still is the same. It still is let me go. This is verbal already. When I use this example, this is verbal. That means P is telling A verbally, say, I let my wife have my car yesterday, and she told me my driving license was in the glove compartment. Here you go. Okay, so A is hearing it. In this example, A is hearing it. So it doesn't make sense, right? If P tell you, she told you to let that my driving license was in the driving compartment, in the glove compartment, or let you go. Okay, here's some examples how I use it. Right, so it happened many times, and I've been using it each time it happens. So this one was one of student text me. Actually, I didn't even know how he knew about my courses. But I bet that it was through some introduction, referral. So this so-called 2B student texted me, okay, asked about this course and that course and things like that. So my reply to him was that the usual fee is 1290. When you sign up with the link shared, you will enjoy more than 50% off, and the fee after discount you need to pay just 590. Da, 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 and here's the link. Da, 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 da. Okay, so after reading this, you know, like I say, I don't know this student one. I don't know where he came from and how he know about my course, but somehow he texted me and make inquiries. So after sending this, short while later, because I sent 12:21, short while later, 12:34, reply back, say, okay, noted, I will sign up. So I get compliance. Okay, so let me ask you this. Looking at my text, where is the three-word command? Can you identify where's the three-word command? Type in the chat box. Can you identify where is the three-word command? My reply seems so normal. Pepe says sign and pay. Alan says sign and pay. Very good. Or sign and pay. So this is my intention. I want that whoever is texting me to sign and pay. Okay. So how I did it, my command, trigger command is embedded in the first paragraph. Thank you, Puiling, sign and pay. Right. So you can see here, sign is in italics, and is in italics, and then pay is italics. So sign and pay. That is my command, my instruction, and I embed it using three words, embed it into a sentence, and I send it out. Okay, some more. Okay, so there's another example here. My reply is, thank you for your early intention to sign up. I'll keep this price 290 for you up to when. This is something I can do for you today. Hope to see you on board soon. Okay, so this is another so-called cold call from a not a cold call. I don't know this student. Okay, somehow he texted me and asked for this and that. So this is my reply. I repeat, thank you for your early intention to sign up. I'll keep this price 290 for you up to 31st August 2020. This is something I can do for you today. Hope to see you on board. Right. So just now I use italics. Now I use bold. So it's up to your creativity, up to your own preference, how you want to highlight the three words command. And shortly after, no, I think this case was he signed up the next day. The next day. Okay. All right. So is it, if you're the first time looking at this, if I send this message to you, thank you for letting sign up today. So you get it. So if let's say I send this message to you, were you able to tell that I'm using embedded command? Were you able to tell that this is an embedded command? How you feel? Type in the chat box. Pepe say yes, very obvious. Okay, very obvious. How about the rest? Now, Pepe, because you have learned this, sometimes something that you see, you cannot simply unsee. But imagine you are the first time seeing this, and I send you this message. How about the rest? How you feel? If this is the first time you are looking at this without knowing about embedded command, would you know I'm using embedded command? Okay, good. So now you know, if I use bold as opposed to the italics, there is a difference. Okay, there is a difference, right? So it's your choice now whether you want to use italics or you want to use bold or you want to use combination or what other type. Alan said very low possibility will know unless the person is very detailed person or observation person. Thank you very much. Okay, but now that you have learned this, once you can see it, you simply can't unsee it. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So there are many patterns. Italics is one way, bold is one way. Bold is a bit loud, like what Pepe say is a bit loud. So you make your own discretion. I do this is because I want to try out all types of pattern and see which one works better. And I do agree with Pepe that some bold can be a bit loud. But my instruction is very, very clear, isn't it? Yes, capital letter also helps. Capital letter also helps. Capital letter, if let's say sign is a capital letter, and then up is a capital letter, today is a capital letter, then this is equally like bold, like that can be very loud. Okay, or you may want to use the first letter as capital, sign, up, now. This is less bold, less loud. Okay, less loud. Right? So I think that's now I mentioned what are the ways that you can do it. Let me see. Okay, number one is italics. Number two is first letter capitalized. Number three is bigger font size. Okay, bigger font size. All right. So I've tried the italics one. I've tried the bold one. Okay, and then yeah, I've also tried the first letter capitalized and things like that. I would say most of the time it works very, very, very well. Now for refresher, have you tried this before so far? Since last lesson we had last year, have you tried this so far? Okay, can. So that's why I say when it's in the written format, you have the time and space to draft out and proofread your text. Okay, what do you call that? You have the time and space lah. You can do it properly lah. Verbally on the spot is harder for me. Pepe say not no chance and not practical for work. Okay. Now it's not actually it's practical for any situation or in any situation as long as you are very clear about your intention. Reduce it to 3 words. Alan say can try using all 3 at the same time. One type per word. Can you try using can try using all 3 at the same time? Can. One type per word. Can. Yes, can. I believe it can. I have not tried. I can try it. You can try also, but I believe it can. For example, what Alan is trying to suggest is maybe, for example, sign is using bold, and then up is using capital, and then today is using maybe italics. It can, as long as you make these 3 words outstanding than the rest. So there's a contrasting effect. It should work. Okay, it should work. Right. Thank you, Alan, for suggesting this. I think it can work. I can try this out. Pepe say email. If not, maybe seems like talk out of point. If I need to create story to fit the 3 command words, use the typical way that you are what do you call that? Use the topic that you're going to talk about, but somehow insert. That's like the way I'm replying. What this is the way that normally I reply, right? I mean, a salesman will reply. So I just embed it in, very naturally and subtly. This is like riding a bike. learning to ride a bike, the first time round is damn so hard because it can't seem to fit in, and you feel that you need a very good command of English and grammar to do it. But after a while, it seems to be second nature. It becomes easier and easier, right? But I leave it to you. Like I say, I'll give you options of tools so that if you find that this one doesn't really fit your style, then you can drop this. You can try the earlier one, or you can try the next one that I'm about to share with you. Okay, I'm going to share with you three. This is the second one. So, any question with this three-word command? A quick one. You have no question, you're good with this, and I can carry on, then type a yes in the chat box. Alan say, when a person read, should we put the command like let you go instead let me go? So this means let the persuader go. Back to just now that one. My sense is let me go. Okay, why? Because this is how people will listen. Okay, will listen. If you say let, if you're the persuader and say let you go, oh, when you say read, read means it's a text. When you say read text, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Okay, when you are reading, then maybe you should change it to let you go. Okay, you have a point. You have a point. All right, you have a point. Okay, thanks, Alan, for pointing this out. Yes, if it's in a text form, perhaps you may want to change it into let you go. Okay, but not for verbal. Verbal is still let me go. Thanks, Alan. Pepe say, cause email corresponding usually have no command, just replying to email enquire. Okay, no problem, Pepe. If this tool doesn't suit your the context of how you're using it, then it's fine. Then move on to use another. The third one, the third one I think can fit almost all situations. Thank you, Alan. Yes, it's reading by the persuader. Yes. Okay, so let's us move on to the third technique. I call it the powerful connector. Powerful connector actually basically back to yin yang again. Every time when we want to convey a piece of information, I will want to use, most people will just bring in a statement A. Okay, bring a statement A. But with this powerful connector, we want to bring on a yin yang statement. Yin yang statement means not only I want to talk about A, I want to talk about A followed by a B statement. I mean, the yin statement and the yang statement come together and form one bigger, longer sentence. All right. So how do we do that? How to join A and B together? By English grammar. If you want to join A sentence with B sentence, you need a connector word in between. That's why I call it the powerful connector. And this is technique number 3. That means every time you want to persuade someone something, give instructions or suggestions or something like that, you want to use the yin yang statement. So if let's say you want to pass on a very bad news, for example, let's say you are in sales and this month or last month you didn't meet target. Okay, you didn't meet target, and now you are in a department meeting. You're supposed to report last month's performance, but you're going to get butter and jam by the boss because you didn't meet target. So this is one of the statement. I didn't meet target. Okay. Now instead of how people usually convey the statement, you go to the meeting, you say, "Oh, sorry, boss, last month I didn't meet the target." This is only one statement. You're only presenting in the one dimension. Okay. Here, we want to bring on A plus B statement. A plus B statement means on top of your bad news, you may want to add on a good news. Okay, you want to add on a good news. For example, you may say that, okay, when your boss asks you, say, okay, Peter, okay, how was it's your time to report now. How's your performance last month? So you don't straight away go in and talk about the bad news first. What we can do is use a sandwich method. Okay, a sandwich method. Sandwich method meaning you talk about one good news, Okay, talk about one good news, and then after that followed by one bad news, and then followed by one good news. So then the bad news will be sandwiched between the two good news, called the Li Gua. Okay, yeah, this is some how people do it to escape from being butter and jam by the boss whenever the performance fall below expectation. Right, so you may say that, oh, last month this item I think sells very well, very very well, exceeded expectation by 20%. Okay, exceeded budget by 20%. Very good. Okay, but however, I think the overall one is not that good because it dropped by maybe only 1%, 1% only. Okay, but because of that, we have time to move on. Use the time to go and do something else, and then we get this result. So this is like one good news followed by one bad news followed by one good news. Okay, but you have to use the connector to join them up lah. Right, so this is one example lah. I call it as yin yang statement. Now next, purpose. Use conjunction. A word. What's a conjunction? Is a word used to connect clauses or sentences or to coordinate words in the same clause. So basically, like I've mentioned just now, is to connect the yin and yang component into a sentence, the good and the bad. Okay, and then usually is to neutralize the first component of a connected sentence. That means the second sentence may be used to neutralize the first sentence. Or if let's say the first sentence is a bad news, then you may want to follow up with B sentence to neutralize it. So what are those powerful connectors? I've explored with many, many connectors. Okay. And I find that these few connectors are very effective. Very effective. For example, but. Okay, but if you have a discussion with me or life coaching with me before, okay, every advice that I give, or not say every lah, because there always be exception. Most of the advice I give, I'll tell you A, then I'll follow with a but, then I'll tell you B. For those who have been through a discussion with me, do you notice that? That most of my statement to you is it comprises of A followed by a but and then followed by a B statement. Have you noticed that for those who have a discussion with me? So, how to use that? Can anybody give me an example of using but? Can anybody give me an example? Maybe everyone try. An example using but as a connector. I'll give you one example first. I may have casted a qua for maybe a client regarding next year outlook, something like that. And then, I'm the qua looks good. Okay, the qua looks good. So I may be telling him, oh, next year, 2023, the year seems good for you. Very soon. But in this month and that month, you may want to be more careful. All right. So I don't give just 100% statement. All right. If I just say next year seems good, that means next year must be good because it's one statement, my aim. So I use a but means I give you 100%, but I give you a 20% discount. But you may have to be extra careful in the month of July and August. Something like this. Anyone? Any examples? Next, I also find that or is a very good conjunction to use, especially making decisions. Okay, I want a fast decision by, for example, someone else, I will use or, right? Or that audience I know can't really make decision one, I will use this conjunction. Okay, or what do you call that? I think that's about it lah. So let me give you an example. Let's say I'm arranging with you to meet up for lunch. Okay, for lunch. I'm arranging with you to meet up for lunch. And I know you don't really, what do you call that? don't really have an idea where we should go for lunch. All right. So instead of asking you where should we go for lunch, I think that the answer that I'll get back is anywhere law. No preference law. Anything will do law. You decide law. You know, something like that. Okay. So like that, ding dong ah, 没完没了. So in the end, if I know that he is that kind of personality that don't really decide, no really 没有主意的, okay, then I'll bring in the or. Okay, how I use the or, I will come in and say, hey, hi Peter, regarding the lunch, which place works better for you, Jack's Place or Swenson? I can tell you most of the time, 80 to 90%, I will get instant answer straight away. Why? Why? Can anybody type in a chat box and tell me why do you think I can get instant answer with this conjunction called or? Basically, I'm limiting the option. Okay, I'm limiting the option with only A or B, yin or yang. I don't go with three options. I won't say A or B or C. I will just go for A or B. So that in the audience mind, I only have these two. Okay, and I will choose the best of the two. Right? So, Pepe say, selecting an option is faster than thinking through on the start. Thank you very much. It works. Okay. Fiona say, narrow down to only two places, easy to make decision. That's right. That's right. And I also pass the authority to the audience. You get my point? So, especially if let's say I know that the audience either cannot make decision or everything also want to make decision, I will use this one or. It works very well. So that I know where works better, which venue works better for you, Swenson or Jack's Place. Straight away, I pass the decision making authority to the audience. Then the audience will feel shocked. If let's say he likes to make decision one, audience will feel shocked, right? Between Swenson and what, let's go for Swenson. Okay. Now, if the audience has a better place, he will straight away counter propose. Okay, counter propose. And then it should be a better place for you already. Then you can make decision very fast. Okay, but anyway, if he didn't counter propose, whether he choose Swenson or choose Jack's Place, it suits my purpose because I'm okay with both. You get my point? So you're in control actually. Okay, you're in control actually, but by using or, you're seem to pass the authority, decision making authority back to the audience. All right, so that is how I use or. You can try it out. This is one way to get fast decision. Okay, next is I agree with you and the word and. Okay, and now when do I use this and? Okay, is let's say between A and B, between A and B, B said something that A disagree. Okay, B said something that A disagree. Now, usually how people respond, usually how A respond, you say that, oh, whatever you say, I disagree. Okay, I don't agree with what you say just now. Okay, people tend to respond this way, right? The moment you say I don't agree with what you say, or like escalation comes out already, like Russia and US. Okay, so one way to do the de-escalation is to use the word and. How to use the word and? This is called the quick phrase. When B says something that A doesn't agree to, how A can respond is, I think I can agree with you on this, and I would like to add that maybe if we go with that, it could be even be better. Right? So there is no tension building. In fact, it's like, okay, I parry away your statement and I give you my counter statement. No tension at all. Okay, so I will use that. If let's say I sense that tension is coming already, I have to disagree with something, but I don't want to show my disagreement up front. Then you can use this phrase called I agree with you and. Don't use but. Don't use but. The moment you use but means you are disagreeing already. Okay, I've tried that. I use but, tension build up. I use and, no tension. But at the same time, I can counter propose what I want to say, and the audience is more open to listen to what I'm about to say. Okay, like I said, don't use but, use and. If this situation that B says something that you disagree, but you want to disagree and at the same time counter back your statement, you can use this one. I agree with you, and is that okay? Not that difficult, right? Okay, last one. Last one. Last one is also very effective. Okay, last one that very effective is using the word because. Because. Why? Now, have you noticed that when people ask a favor of you, come to you and ask a favor, if they don't tell you why they need this favor from you, likelihood you will not agree to do that. Am I correct? But the moment that someone asks you a favor and explain why he need that favor, okay, I think most of the time you will try to accommodate. For example, okay, because I need to do, because my boss needs this report urgently, can I cut queue and use the photocopy machine first? I'm just giving a loose example. Because the boss, a CEO need this report urgently, can I cut queue and use this photocopy machine first? Your intention is to cut queue and use the photocopy machine. There's already some queue. But you just cut queue like that. Say, I want to cut queue. I want to do some urgent for the setting services. Most of the time, the first person will say, go back to the last of the queue because you didn't explain why. So therefore, if you add in the because means the why, because of this, comma, da 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 da, your intention comes in, it become more acceptable to people. Then you can get their buy-in to say, okay, Ken, let me finish this last piece. You can take over after that. Something like this. So going through these four, I've tried many other words. I find that these four, if you use it in the right context, it works very, very, very well. But at the same time, don't believe a thing I say. I want you to try it out. Remember these four. There are plentiful of them, but just use these four for now. Try it out and see for yourself how effective it is. Is that okay? Question? Type in the chat box. Example. Now, for example, the daughter always hang out late at night. Now the mother is concerned. The mother say, I don't want you to hang out with your friends until 2 a.m. every day. But, you see, use the word but if you can do it on Saturday night, it is still acceptable. Okay, so if you only come up with A statement, A means I don't want you to hang out with your friend until 2 a.m. every day, or this is going to invite resistance. But you come in with a B statement, but if you can do it only on Saturday night, I think it's still acceptable. Something like that. Next, the or thing, the or. So what is going to be easier for you? To continue going to work in a job you hate, or to learn a system to get 100 people to use your product? Okay, something like this, or. Next, the I agree with you and something like that. I agree with you. And have you considered that it could also appear like this? So I agree means there's no tension. But at the same time, I use and, not but, not but. Okay. And you put in your counter statement. Or have you considered that it could also appear like this? Right? Okay. So one example that I use for my own also, I use the word because. Okay. Now I'm trying to make exception for this student. Okay, but I explain why I'm making this exception. Because you are asking about it now, I can make the exception. All right, and then still offer you this da 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 da. Now, with that, because you are asking about it now, I can tell you it push up the chances of that student signing up. Okay, can you see the reply? Okay, great. I'll take up the offer and do the pay now transfer over to you. Okay, can you see? I sent out on 9:46, reply back at 9:50, almost instantaneous. So once you know when to insert in certain kind of subtle commands, you know, you don't bother about how the other person is going to receive it, because it's not up to the conscious mind of that audience to receive it. It's up to the subconscious mind to receive it. Now, if the subconscious mind already has this mental trigger about 我不要欠人情, okay, for example, 我不要欠人情 one, that means I don't want to, receive favor. So therefore, when I use because you are asking about it now, suddenly like, oh, jialat, I owe him leh. I owe him something already because I asked for it and now he has to make an exception. I think I better sign up now. Okay, so we are playing with the law of persuasion. Okay, law of persuasion. This is called the law of reciprocity. Right? Question so far? Now, when I talk about the law of persuasion, law of scarcity, law of reciprocity, all this is a huge elephant by itself. That's why I've come out with a workshop called the 9 Yin Yang Law of Persuasion. Now, when you use that law with this program that you're learning over these 3 lessons, it's going to be a very powerful tool. Right? Question so far? All right. So can I ask, are you still good with me? If you are, type yes in the chat box. Then I will proceed on with module 6, the last module for today. Interesting.